Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the CVR World Cup League. Joining me today is going to be Mr. Quentin Lefay coming at us from France, as well as myself coming at you from Zwift Community Live headquarters. How's it going today, Quentin? Going to be crazy fast race. We got about 45 seconds to jump on a course. They're doing the London 8, I believe, for 2 laps. It's a pretty long course, actually. I think for 2 laps out there, 42K or so.
Hey everyone, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race, very fast as well, as the London 8 loop only has one climb, which is Box Hill, the much anticipated Box Hill, and 2 laps of it is about 41 kilometers, so we should have about an hour or so of racing. And definitely a very big field today with we see 80 riders in the A bracket right now in contention for the qualifying spot for the next CVR live event. And as of right now, the leader of this series is Mathieu Roujon from Vision Cycling, who won last week with a total of 1996 points, just in front of I think it's Kim Little who has 1994
Kim's at
points.
1990. Vidar Male sitting at
1990, yeah,
19.
it's
Male
Mel.
is at 94. Yep.
Mel is 1994, yeah. And the interesting thing last week is that despite Matthew taking the win a couple of seconds before the peloton, about 15 riders arrived at the finish line grouped in the front group, and that's not something you usually see after 2 climbs of Box Hill. So it really shows like the density of the pack that we have in these races, especially in this A bracket. And we are going to see today if basically things repeat themselves, and if we can have 15 or 12 or 17 riders in that front group going into the finish line.
Women actually just took off from the start finish line as well. It looks like there is a solid group of women here. A lot of the regulars showing up out there, as I am seeing Kona Bear up toward the front there, along with Holmes and Falk. I believe Falk, along with I believe there are a couple others. Beaumont got away, I believe, last week along with her, if I'm not incorrect. We'll see if there's
Yeah,
a repeat there.
I think so. Yeah, last week we had Kristen Falk, Carrie Conabeer, and Lynn Beaumont just taking off at not the very start of the race, but kind of early in the race. And in the first climb of Box Hill, Kristen Falk went alone and did that full solo lap for the second one. And we're going to see if she can do it again today. But it's going to be difficult, as there is a lot of very strong riders in the field today, as I'm seeing on the screen right now. And they should definitely watch out for some of the riders with a little B as well next to the name, because, well, a lot of them aren't really used to Zwift racing or are fairly new. And these are the riders that can be a little bit surprising for some of the elite riders. And maybe as they make their way through the categories there, they can get up a category or two during their first season.
Looks like a Fearless right along with Vixen Rider, C Muldoon right along with Gray here, falling off to the pace right away, but they are a part of the C category here, so racing each other. We'll see if Muldoon can get back to the wheel of Gray there before some of the climbing starts here. Up into that 4 watts per kilogram, looks like maybe just a moment of not paying attention, and Gray taking full advantage of that now, kicking on the 4 watts per kilogram actually. And getting a little bit of break here, but it's going to be a long and lonely race in the C category if she does get away here, but maybe just ending things early and liking the TT style there. In the D category, we do want to check in there real quick before we head back forward there. It is going to be Styler along with G Anchors here as well. at 2.5 watts per kilogram. It's going to be a race between those two, it looks like, in the D category. But back up toward the front here, it is a large pack all together still, with Chris Amin here at 188 beats per minute here, with Landier as well. All the B category riders here, right in with the A's, and I would have to agree with you there. Would be watching out for maybe a couple of these B category riders to maybe have a little bit of upset today. Hang out with them up and over the top of Box Hill, and be able to maybe play things smart and grab a couple of points out there today for their bracket, as they're calling it, within the CVR rankings. So the men are about to take the turn, though. They started about a minute up the road, so they're about to take the turn onto the climb into Trafalgar Square, and this is where things are going to heat up for the first time out on course today. You are seeing, it looks like, about 50, well, more than that, I would say, riders, about 50 to 60 riders here in this lead group right now. As we move forward, we did see Kim Little hanging out, I believe, in that leader's jersey still. Is that correct? Was he hanging out in that leader's jersey for or was that Vidar Mail? I have to double check here. Who's got the current leader's jersey for the Kiss E-Crit series? Because I did see it out there out on course. And we'll see if we can get a good idea of who is donning that jersey. I swear I saw it. Moving through the pack right here, actually, with the yellow wheels, actually. And we'll see who is actually wearing that as they make their way up toward the front.
Him is still the leader of the E-Crit.
For the Europe series, gotcha. So he is still the leader.
Series, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'll have to double check on the current league results, where the standings are for that. Is he still hanging out in that? Looks like 101 points for him, just ahead of Soren Bay there. So that is why he is in the yellow jersey right now, out on course with a little of attack now, though, as he heads into the downhill. Be taking a right-hand turn onto the classic course in just a moment before they head on over to the Box Hill climb. Gives you a little extra time, a little bit of reprieve, a little bit of opportunity here to wear people's legs out a little bit more endurance in this race than maybe just a direct London loop 2 times. So it is probably going to be Grupo Compacto through here. Not a lot of opportunity, Quentin, besides the turnaround on the classic course there, though, on the right after Buckingham Palace here.
Yeah, like the first real opportunity to to split things up a little bit is that small climb up to Trafalgar Square, and usually the faster riders tend to attack a little bit to try to soften the legs of the other riders and try to cause the first splits to happen, because, well, the stronger the front riders are, is the more they tend to try to split things up, and every opportunity they get to do that, they have to take advantage of. And yeah, like, this was the first opportunity, and there's not a lot on that London 8 loop, as now they are getting into the reverse. I think it's the reverse classic loop before heading up to Box Hill, and well, it might be harder than it looks, because it's all small inclines, 1-2%. So you still need to get the draft of the peloton to stay basically with the front group, and well, it's definitely a tactical part, because you can make splits happen. You can try to break away. You can always try something on these spots. Like we see usually stronger riders trying to attack on the way back to the mall after taking that full turn. Well, not that full as we just saw, but just after taking the right-hander into the mall. And yeah, they just basically try to gain some momentum before going into Box Hill, because any kind of advantage you get before that climb is something that the guys behind you are going to have to bridge, and any kind of effort you can make them do and manage yourself is going to be a good thing to get. And yeah, I mean, right now the fan view is getting a little bit moody, but
It's having fun with us. It's having a whole lot of fun with us. It knows we're broadcasting, so it's like, hey, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna we're gonna move around on course. We're gonna show you how many different scenes we can get you out on Zwift, because it's all about the scenery, it seems, here, not the riders at this point. So
gotta
looking
jump
through
around
here,
a little bit.
we're gonna go jump around. We need a House of Pain sound bite just for that moment. Actually, I could just push a little button here and it would just be like jump around, or crisscross will make you. I mean, like, we need some of that old school sound bites coming through specifically for these situations here, just for a little bit of humor around it here. But we do have, for those of you who would like to interact with the broadcast, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything you would like to bring to the broadcast about the races, about the riders, any photos of your Zwift setups that are in relation to the racers that are out here, or would just like to share how you're being motivated by the broadcast, you can bring them right on into the broadcast here with us by interacting with us on social media. We do have our social media integration up, so you can comment on you can comment on our Facebook post, or you can also tweet at Z Community Live. So looking through here, good advice. Tactical part is in downhill and short hill on exit from underground. Jacob Debsky is saying he's going to give us an idea of exactly how you can get involved in the broadcast. This is part of Wojan. You can break the group easily, he says.
Yeah,
if you are not careful. Yeah. Easy.
Easily.
Right, Quentin says.
Yeah, Cats. Nothing is easy.
Nothing is easy in the A category, Quentin says. So we've got some sort of wonderful noise coming through one of my computers right now. I don't know if we have social media integration taking place much.
Yeah,
Quentin, I'm going to have to hand it to you for just a moment.
Yeah, well, Nathan is trying to shut up his second computer. I mean, right now the ladies' race is kind of calm. Yeah, you're back, and I was just saying that the ladies' race is still calm because the peloton is not that big, and any kind of advent of draft they can get before the climb that's going to cause the first separations, they are going to take it and they are going to make the most of it. But on this kind of course and with that kind of a pack, if a rider is much stronger than the rest, she can try to get out, but she has not many reasons to, because if she feels stronger, she can just wait basically to box hill to make things happen, as she doesn't have any rider doesn't really need to go that early in the race.
Yeah, I think we're like in the men's race right now as well. We're going to see this Grupo Compacto for quite a bit of time here. There's probably not going to be too many attacks. They're waiting out and maybe just trying to push a little bit on the other riders here and there to tire them out. Elvire here, though, up toward the front. PTZ, steady watts per kilogram here. I have a feeling that perhaps she is working a little bit maybe for Angmo here and trying to tire a few of the riders out here. Falk playing it smart here, though, 165. Konaber sitting in 154. Definitely within the limits of her threshold here. Holmes there as well, 163 beats per minute. Asperheim is there, 150 now, as you can see. And so definitely pretty calm still. Chrisman at the back of the pack here, 187 beats per minute, 145 watts or so. And looks like Carissa along with Gray, who is right back in with them, actually. That is quite a fight to get back in with these riders here for the Team Fearless rider. She was off the back by a solid, I think, 15 seconds or so at one point.
Yeah, it's the thing is that this kind of teamwork we've seen from them in the past races, as with PTZ, where what we saw was more animal working for Louisa Fear, and well, Fearless has had a hard time, but they've mostly been working for Beaumont, I think, and well, she's proven to be one of the stronger rider out on course, but is also a very strong rider and especially a very strong sprinter. One they should watch out for, though, with the French rider Audrey Landier, I think, and she's still there. And I don't know how she would do in a climb, but we saw early on that she's had a very good sprint. I remember a couple of weeks back when it arrived in a bunch sprint for fourth or fifth place, and she had some incredible numbers. And if she can stick with the front girls, she might be one to watch for.
We are seeing. So I don't think she's currently within the A bracket, though. Correct. So I'm
No,
looking through here.
she's in the B bracket.
The B bracket. Yeah,
She's in the
gotcha.
B
So
bracket.
Asperheim, Carissa, and Harsley is who I'm seeing currently in the standings. Carissa Min in second place, actually, in the B bracket with 1990 points. Held Asperheim there in second, or in first place, actually, within that B bracket there. Kristen Falk there currently leading with Anna Barbado. Rachel Elliott with only one race, though, and 1,000 points. So she's going to miss out on her best of here for the beginning of the series here. Not sure she can actually catch up if she does miss this next race here.
Yeah, I think. Well, the thing is, she might have already missed out on the first spot, because 1,000 points is a lot, and how it works is that for the rankings, you take the best three of each half season. So now our score for the half season can be at maximum 2,000, when Kristen is going to have at least 900 points, something more than she does, and she can't make up for that even in the second half of the season. So she might actually miss out on the first place for this CVR season in the E zone, according to the fact that that Christine Falk doesn't miss two races in the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and definitely have to be consistent as well as fast in these series, actually. So just like any other race series, though, in real life as well. So the men are just about to start their climb up and over the top of Box Hill. Actually, we do see a couple of attacks now taking place as we head on over to Box Hill and the start of it here. And now we can see back in 18th place currently here ZS here, but moving forward, we're going to see Chris Walanos here coming from Team Poland, and they've been sending me a couple messages here. They're super motivated every time they jump out on course. They're a great addition, actually, to the world of Zwift. Always good to see them out there, super organized here. And Chris Walanos, he's had some solid results recently, Quentin, I think.
Yeah, he's had some very solid results, and we saw him coming in fourth last week at the on this not this very course. It was Creative London Loop, but a very similar course, and we saw him come in second at the Kiss Ecrit race for the Europe zone. So definitely a very strong sprinter. But this guy can climb as well, and that's what makes him a threat for guys that can only climb, and definitely want to watch out for when it comes to a group sprint.
Yeah, always be watching out for them. I mean, I think we actually saw him win a sprint recently that was pretty strong, or at least coming in the top spots of it. But we are seeing this Wilkins here up toward the front here. This is a name I'm not super familiar with. Interesting to see. And I'm not sure that he's actually in the runnings for the CVR here. So 184 beats per minute, 364 watts here, up into 400 here momentarily now as they head up their first time over the top of Box Hill now. Really starting to kick up the pace now. Field being followed closely by Herman as well as Tolbal. And then it will be Pettinger as well. Langley here there, Whiteley ZS there along with Kraswonos. It is starting to snap a little bit here. Vang from the KRT racing team, mountain biker coming out of Norway now trying to grab back onto the wheels there. Jerkset is there as well. Kraswonos, that we were talking about just a moment there, is going to need to close this down if he's going to make it for the sprint at the end of the day, though, as we are seeing that gap to start open up. They have to kick an extra 2 watts per kilogram or so to close down something like an attack like this, I would think, Quentin.
Yeah, they have to watch out, because if a group of 5 or 6 riders is going up the front, they can keep increasing their advantage in the descent, when it's not the case when you have a group of 1 or 2 riders. And well, it's going to be interesting to see what tactics they have. But I think Wilkins was in the race last week as well, but given his avatar, it seems like it's a fairly new rider to Zwift. He's got the Zwift carbon bike and the regular wheels, and as well as a Zwift base kit. So he might be fairly new to Zwift, and definitely one to watch out for. And well, given any kind of particular effort, but definitely very interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I am going to actually take a look here quick over at ZwiftPower.com. If you guys aren't familiar with ZwiftPower.com, head on over there for all race results and live results as well. The CVR World Cup is tracked over by CVR on their website, but it is in conjunction with the results that are found over at ZwiftPower.com. And looking through here, I'm looking for this rider specifically, Christian Wilkins, not connected with his ZwiftPower.com profile, actually, with any link, it looks like at this point. So he, I believe, will not be able to be finalized in the results just yet. Tom Langley as well out there, not with a ZwiftPower account. So most likely you'll have a relegation at the end of the day, but they can write that relegation if they do sign up over at ZwiftPower.com. Jay Herman, though, going right along with him, and they open up a 6-second gap here at this point. Langley, and it looks like Whiteley, they're going to have to close this down quickly here, though, because that will quickly go out to about 30 seconds if they go over the top with that kind of a gap at this point here. Kim Little here sitting in, following the wheels. Looks like he's playing smart here, assuming that this might come back. Thomas here along with Jujon now from the Vision Cycling Team. Dempster's there as well. Mail here, who's had some solid results for KRT recently, trying to close it down, but at 6 watts per kilogram here at 175 beats per minute. And this point of this climb is absolute suffering. This is where you are just waiting for it to end, because you're about 6 minutes in to an all-out VO2 max effort here. And Mail is, I think, holding on by just a nail at this point.
Exactly. That's a point of Box Hill that might be the most difficult, because it flattens out, but the guys in the front keep pushing, and that's where you expect some recovery, and the climbs keeps coming at you as much as the guys in the front keep pushing, and we might have a front group here with almost 10 riders. And yeah.
This, I don't think I've ever seen that kind of time up and over the top of Box Hill. That they are hammering today, and the bulk of the riders that came over the top with them still were at a time that was about 10 to 12 seconds faster than my expectation. They are all in for this prize here. You can tell they want that invite. There's $100,000 on the line, boys and girls, at the live event. And to get an invite to it gives you a chance at a piece of that $100,000 prize pool here. And you can see the motivation happening here with these riders now at this point. And Herman and Wilkins here have set some crazy numbers off the front here. And you can see this pack now trying to chase that down, kicking into the orange numbers here. And it will be Jerkseth along with Drujan. ZS making his way to the front now, might disrupt things a little bit up toward the front of the race now. Pettinger there as well as Langley now 9 watts per kilogram, finding himself off the back but 148 beats per minute, really coming down in that heart rate very quickly. That's some really high EF there that he's got going on there. Maybe going to trigger a few raised eyebrows there, but unable to get back on terms, it looks like, as there's some pushing at the front here, and it's all being brought back together, it looks like now. And I have a feeling there may be a few race organizers wishing that they had some in-game tools maybe at this point.
Yeah, definitely wishing there was some in-game tools. And well, when you see that kind of number in a race, it can be pretty frustrating, I would say. But well, when you're on the bike, you often don't, but you kind of need to realize that there's almost nothing to do about it, and you have to deal with it. But it's very difficult to accept. And we see some numbers. So there's a couple of riders in that front group that may raise questions. As we saw last week, Johannes Herman was DQ'd for his 5 minutes effort. So the thing with Johannes is that he's awaiting verification, and as you know, he lives in Germany, and road riding in Germany in January is kind of difficult, not to say very difficult. So you might have to wait until spring to get some verification done on the road. So that's a nice part. Then you have DS Zor, who is a freaking flyer as well, and riders have to deal with him as well. And you have a couple of well, the new riders can be some wild cards, and you always have to, well, to make like to forget about all these kind of things and just move on with the race and try to chase the pixels as much as you can.
And it becomes now we new obstacles to deal with out on course sometimes. If you know that riders have a reputation of being... Now, we give the benefit of the doubt to new riders as much as possible, though. There's a reality that there is some checks and balances in place by the race organizers. These are not races organized by Zwift directly. They do have their own race organizers. So CVR has its own race organizers that do their own governing of their racers. And so there is, though, a benefit of the doubt that's given to a certain point. And then the riders that are known for maybe having some calibration issues they're either unaware of or manipulating directly, you end up seeing them as obstacles out on course that you have to race with or against at times. And a lot of times there's some good camaraderie around that. Okay, Falk here, 4.4 watts per kilogram though at the front there. Beaumont there, 48 seconds back. Falk is going from the get-go here, actually. Not waiting up this time around and just wants to end this early, it looks like.
Yeah, she's doing just like last week. She gets on early in Box Hill, and she just goes into that TT effort that she knows and that we know she has. And well, given what she did last week, she might be gone, and it might already be GG for her at that point. Well, but the thing is, you never know what can happen on a trainer on Zwift. And well, the race is still long. There's more than half an hour to go, but yeah, as of right now, she's going for the same scenario that we had last week.
We are seeing then Falk with almost a minute 10 now at this point. So it looks like Beaumont and Veer going to be battling out for that second place. Angmo's going to have her work cut out for her, along with Kona Bear, to bring back those two, as they have a solid 19 seconds at this point, and that'll probably go out to about 40. Usually doubles up and over the top of the climb. Asprime with Carissa Mind here, hanging tough here, it looks like, with Holmes. So this is a solid effort here from these three women now at this point, as they make their way up and over the top of the climb here, sitting in what looks to be 6th through 8th place, I believe, at this point. Let me just double check my math there. And so it looks like, yeah, 6th through 8th here holds Min and Asperheim and three different teams. So definitely going to be working. Maybe though to bring back Vixen and Fearless, as there is no other Fearless riders in or Vixen riders in this group here. So these three have gloves off and can just go at it here to bring back that group ahead. But they're going to have to work for it though, as that's probably going to be going out to a minute 30 plus though, as they make their way down the other side. Elvier is going to be the only one on Angmo, Carissa's or Asperheim's. It looks like Radar being in that B category, I would think.
Yeah, it's well, when you are in the middle of nowhere, even if you're a group of three, you are always trying to chase the group before you. So even if they had like teammates, maybe one of them would sit in. But well, when you are a group of three, or even if you're alone, you just try to hang on to whatever you can, because it's so hard on your legs and on your mind, that you have to grab something to hold on to for the rest of the race. And well, in that case, it might be the group just before them, uh, especially if they have no teammates in that group. But well, I mean, the rankings are still high, so there might be some racing for the playoff spot, and at this place of the race. And yeah.
Something super interesting happened here, but I can't get it on screen because of a little bit of fan view. But it looks like Herman has come back to the group actually. There was some sort of crazy attack, or he slowed down on purpose. One of the two. And they're allowing ZS to go, and Herman seems to know to allow him to go as well. Hopefully he just goes and does a victory lap solo at this point, which would be amazing. Awesome effort there from ZS. Good job. And we'll give him a ride on, maybe keep him off the front. Keep it up. 147, maybe another 30 beats per minute, man. I want to see everything you got, ZS. Let's go to the end of the course. See, we can encourage him on to go on that Tron bike. We'll see if we can get him moving here. But now we're seeing Kim Little here, 4.5 watts per kilogram. Has brought back, it looks like, with a few others, the front end of this race. But we're jumping around a little bit here. We'll see if we can stay with them. But it looks like we don't even get track stands this week, which is interesting. We need them track stands back at least, because at least we were sticking at one point out on course. But it looks like no track stands, no trials this week. But at 1:30,
Yeah, you have to make a
looks
choice.
like Falk is gone.
You can track stand and jump around as well. So you have to make your choice in music. But yeah, Kristen Falk here is definitely doing nor the jumping around or the track stand. She's going for it real hard, and she's leaving no chance to anyone else. And she's still in that 170 on her heartbeat, and she's settling right now in her TT effort. And well, it's going to be pretty hard to see her back for Beaumont and Veer behind her. And yeah, she's going to come across the line pretty soon. And yeah, after that, she's going to have a very long lap. And right now, I think she's wishing she had that TT bike to go all around the center of London. But I mean, you can change. I don't think you can. You are allowed to change bikes on that series. But well, given her advantage, I don't think she needs any kind of TT bike help, if I can say so. But right now, yeah, it's going to come down to the chase and how they regroup behind, because as much as the first place matter, the second and third place are important as well. And because they get you to the playoffs and they get you in contention for the spring CVR live event. And as Frank explained, I believe it was last week when he explained that to us. And second and third place are going to matter a lot to the riders. And yeah, you need to throw everything you got in order to get into these ranks. And that's the Beaumont seems to be a pretty serious contender for that second place, and definitely interesting to see where she's going to end up. But she's definitely going for it, and she has to. Louis Avir, on the other end, is in the B category, in the B bracket. Sorry, I'm gonna. I give you enough stuff for that, so I would try not to do that again. But she's in the B bracket, so she won't be able to contest Beaumont for the points in the A bracket, qualifying for the playoff, as only the A bracket can qualify for the what we call the postseason, and they can work together as they both have different goals, and but Louis Avir here is making a huge step towards the A bracket for the spring season as well.
Yeah, she definitely is. You can see she's always up toward the front of these races at this point. We are getting a lot of comments actually coming through about the women's race. Good to see all the interaction over at Facebook. Actually, we are seeing, as well as the men's race as well. So Justin Purificati, actually good to see that you're hanging out in the broadcast. Actually, the current reigning world champion of CVR actually is hanging out here with us, it looks like here. So Justin says sometimes 2 is all you need, and had a little bit of happened last week will happen again tonight. So he's making a prediction that perhaps 2 will make it off the front, but it looks like Wilkins and even ZS and Herman have come back, but it maybe we'll have a repeat here. That is, even he said that is fast. 5:32. Oh my God. A bit of training for me then. And impressive times here coming from Mike Davis. And then we do have Lulana. Anthony, good to have you here. And I appreciate all of the updates there, as we were unable to find the women for a moment out there and a couple of technical difficulties. But Beaumont and Falk breaking way up Box Hill. We are seeing Falk chatting about her getting away, and has a killer lead with that 7:07 time over up the top of Box Hill. Slow it down. He has caught them in the tunnel. Jacob Depsky is letting us know as well. Mike Davis, it's good to see you in the broadcast, and talking about staying away from the fried chicken. Des Mooney is here as well. Glad to be back in the sound. We're glad to have you. And a few 5 watt per kilogram after the 20 minutes, above 4.9 watts become 95%. So Frank Deal's predicting a few Zotto letters maybe in the mail after this one. We'll have to see if that does end up playing out that way or not. It is slowing down a little bit, but looking toward the front, Falk with that 134 right now. I think the women's race for first almost decided, but this second place is heating up, and Angmo isn't gone yet. 2 PTZ riders there in that battle for second place is definitely going to make things interesting, I would think, here. Along with Kona Bear there too. They're working well together, it looks like. And I think really closing this down now, getting some rest, and then the climb is what's going to really say what's going to happen for that second place then, though.
Exactly, and Carrie here is in contention for the second and third place as well. And well, she's used to the CVR Live event, as she did. I think she did the London one, and she definitely did the Paris one. Where in Paris she won the performance race for the women. So definitely one to watch for, as she is very consistent in her effort. But well, even though she doesn't have the mohawk, I think, but I don't think that's slowing her down. Like yeah, all the hair she has on the head doesn't slow her down. But that, I mean, that's not very aero as the mohawk can be. But you know, she's.
I don't think we've done any tests on the hair. I'm pretty sure the hair is just cosmetic. Right? There's no test on there.
I think Herrick needs to do some testing on that. So yeah, just to call out right now, Herrick, if you are listening, you know what your next article is going to be, and what your next testing is going to be.
It's going to be dress up day over at Zwift Insider for Eric Schlange. Not dressing up Eric, dressing up the avatars. We're going to play Oh my goodness. So
Erin can dress up as well, but I doubt she. Well, I think given his current hairstyle, he's going to have some trouble testing all the hairstyles there is on Zwift.
we'll just get him. Oh, okay, I'm going to stop now. We're done. We're not going to talk about wigs or anything like that. I did say the word, but we're done. Okay, there's going to be all kinds of posts on this one now from here on out. And so looking through here, and we're seeing that it is almost. Oh, nope, they are starting to get away. No, 21 seconds. It's right where it's staying. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong place here. It looks like Beaumont right on with Veer, able to hold on to this gap, but they haven't head over to the classic course yet. They've got a lot of pavement yet to deal with to try and stay away from Engmo and Kronenberg. And they seem to be working fairly well together here. The PTZ rider does not seem to be holding, well, 147 beats per minute. I wonder if she beats fairly lowly, because at 147, she may not be working very hard to bring back her teammate here. And Kronenberg might just be looking for a little reprieve, or here also waiting for that a moment to attack and try and get away off the front at 155 beats per minute. I know she does beat fairly lowly for her max heart rate, so this is up into a tempo pace or so, I think, for Kronenberg here at that 3.7 watts per kilogram here right now. So maybe just waiting for a moment, though, to really put on an attack here, but it's going to have to wait for that gravity kick in on the uphills here to really make it matter and not waste too much energy and just have Engmo there close it down with some team tactics.
Yeah, this part of the race is pretty tactical for when you are in this situation, because on the one hand you want to get some time back from the front group, or the group you're chasing, but on the other hand, you want to keep some energy for Box Hill. That's where the separation happens. That's where you get the most. That's when you can make up for the most time, and you need to have more energy than the group before you to get back to them. And well, it's all about managing your efforts and finding your comfort zone, staying in there and trying to not lose too much time on the front group, to be able to bridge back afterwards in Box Hill, and hoping that the ones just in front of you did a lot more effort than you did. But if the gap grows very fast, it can slim down very fast as well. Especially in the climbs. So, I mean, for these first 5 riders, anything is still possible at this point of the race.
Looking through here, the efficiency factor I'm seeing, well, not efficiency factor, but the efficiency of their cadences, though, you can really see them hammering out this high 95 to almost 100 cadence right now at this point. RPMs, man, they are really, it looks like, in a zone at this point to try and hold on to this pace. And you do see Carrie here continues to make her way to the front here, not letting things slow down too much here. Up in that 159 or so as they make the climb up on the top. But at 34 seconds, this may be turning out to be a race, though, for 4th place on the day, as it does not look like that's coming down quickly. And actually, if anything, it is starting to go out here. And I think Veer here is really got Kronenberg here on her mind here, not wanting her to come back. Beaumont there as well, most likely not wanting Kronenberg to come back. Looking at the current standings over at CVR data, we are seeing Kronenberg there sitting in 4th place, just behind Rachel Elliott, actually in the A category. I'm not seeing, though, Beaumont in the results, so that can't be correct, though. She was in the race last week, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, and if I recall right, she was in the first one as well. But these things kind of happen. Sometimes you have some some things to improve just in the informatic stuff. But I mean, in the end, she knows where she stands. I believe she knows what points she has. But it's
Lynn, 2nd place last week, actually. I believe it was on the 9th. Is that last week? Yeah, on the 9th last week. Yeah, with 11:55, just behind Kristen, actually, by about 2 minutes or so. And so it looks like it's going to end up pretty similar, except for this time around, she's got Veer with her. Veer was not with her last week here, actually. So this is a little bit of a different situation as Elvier was not present in last week's race here. So maybe going to be able to bring that time down a little bit as they make their way into their last half a lap here. So the men are just starting into their climb, though, out on course. They did allow Wilkins a solid gap, though, at this point. So not going to be too involved with him at the front end of the race. We'll have to see if he does get tagged, if the Danish rider does go over that 5 watt per kilogram tag. I would assume with this 5 minute as well, because they did add a new 5 minute limit as well, didn't they, Quentin?
Yeah, they added the 5 minute effort because, well, on the 20 minutes you can tweak it a certain number of ways to avoid to still win races and still get under that 5.0 on 20 minutes. And like Casey is saying right now in the chat, if you exceed 6 watts per kilogram for 5 minutes, that puts you in elite range, and you have to verify that. And that's where they are going to verify. And most likely, I think Christian Wilkins here from Denmark is going to have to go through some verification. And I mean, that's for the best, because if he can, it would be pretty good for him to jump in a race and get the verification right away, so he can almost start on a clean basis. Something that a lot of riders didn't have the chance to. And I mean, you need to that verification should be good for him, as jumping into the racing scene that eliminates any kind of doubt they can have, the other racers can have. But he did a very solid effort on the first climb, and we are going to see right now if you can maintain that kind of effort, because with 186 right now is beating fairly high for the first half of Box Hill.
Yeah, and like you were saying there with the verifications, it's all for the best of everybody out there is the idea. Herman now kicking up in the 177 beats. We're trying to close things down here. Kim Little here, 6.45 watts per kilogram, with Whiteley right on his wheel here, or Whitley, and Petner trying to go along with him, Jerkseth, and then ZS hanging on. Matthew Jujon here, 6.4 watts per kilogram. So the race for most likely those who will not be relegated and need some approval, most likely will be here. But there is the reality, though, at this point that we may be having a lot of riders, as Casey is saying actually in the chat right now, a whole lot of riders that are going to have to provide some new verifications, actually, because the cool thing about Box Hill is that if you're pulling 5:30s to 6 minutes, you're pulling 6 minute efforts that are over 6 watts per kilogram, and you're going to have to you're pulling 5 minute efforts that are over 6 watts per kilogram, and you're going to have to submit some approvals here. So it's kind of cool, actually. It's almost like this course is the catch 'em all course, almost, Quentin, to try and bring in rein things in a little bit there. So I kind of like that situation a little bit, actually, as that change up makes it so that there's a little bit more openness about the dynamics of racing, and how there's a lot more than just FTP involved, especially in these races that do have so many changes and in elevation and what am I going after here? Peak powers that are going to be expressed during the race. I mean, a lot of times it's your 15-second sprint, it's your 2 to 5 minute power, and then whatever your FTP is, a lot of times are going to be huge factors as to whether or not you're going to be able to hang on during the race, during one of these races. Now, it's too bad we are getting a little bit more of the family issue here, so we're going to get back in. As the attacks with the women, though, are going to be so not too bad, though, at all, actually, as the women are most likely going to start attacking in a moment here, as they do head under the 1K to go the opposite direction, though, of the 1K here, and hopefully be able to get back in with the men as they make their way over the top.
Yeah, we just saw Mathieu Doujon attacking from the frozen group, and the funny thing, sorry, with Mathieu is that last year he started Zwift he started racing on Zwift actually in the B category. He was like just getting back on the bike after the career he had in World Tour racing for some very strong teams out there, and he did the Paris Roubaix challenge last year, and then he got he left the bike on the side for a couple of months, and then he came back for CVR World Cup, and he placed actually fifth or sixth in the elite bracket in Paris, which was really impressive for a couple of months of training. And now that there is regular CVR live events, I think he's going after it, and we are now seeing maybe a glimpse of what his fitness was when he was riding with these pro teams, and that's really impressive to see how back he's coming back into form. As well, when he's a very well known sprinter, but he's showing that he can do some very strong 5 minutes effort as well. But Kristen Falk here is showing that she has the 30 minutes effort to give, and definitely a very impressive lap she's doing to hold off Dumont, Fear, and then Konebeer and Engmo.
Yeah, we are seeing Cronenberg and Angmo here still working well together, but it's not going to be happening. It looks like here as Beaumont and Levier, as you were saying, are staying away here, 139, 138. So she's kept it consistent. She got the gap with a solid effort here, and now staying super consistent off the front though. And looking through, it looks like Cronenberg here is going to be on the chase then, but not going to be bringing that back in, I don't believe, as it's out to a minute now at this point. That is a huge gap to bring back on Box Hill. They'd have to have a monstrous effort, but it will also be the chase group then, it looks like, of Holmes along with Min and Asperheim. Now, there are riders here still out on course that they are going by, but that's because they are taking a right-hand turn in a moment here on to the course that they just entered, which is part of the figure eight, which they actually go backwards on the classic course, which they're just exiting right now. That's why you're seeing other riders around them. We do have a lot of questions and comments actually coming through here. Let's go ahead and visit those real quickly. This is a great comment here coming from most likely a friend of one of the racers. Says, "Gas Daniel, put the gas on, pedal to the metal." Coming here from Marco Marina. We also have, it looks like, Jan Jacobson. Please start a pro tour in Zwift and to old so that the old compete against these monsters. I love that. That is a great comment there. Actually, we should have something like that. There is a comment that I would like to make as a professional racer. A pro license is making money racing, and that there is plenty of individuals out there in the real world who do not make money racing, who can put out some crazy, amazing numbers. And with the ability to train like this in Zwift day in and day out, it's almost like becoming this hive of finding all those individuals who can get the time in now to train. And sure, there is some calibration issues here and there with some riders, but there are a lot of riders who are getting silly strong through the advances that Zwift has made with a virtual world, connecting this kind of competition together. So I know there's a lot of elevation of the pro license and the world tour thing, and they're super fast. I've raced against a lot of them. I'm not taking that away from them at all, and it's amazing to get a pro license in that respect. At the same time, the difference between amateur and professional is a paycheck. And so just want to make sure that that's out there too, as well, as these are amazing efforts that we're seeing out there too. But I would love to see Pro Tour out there to bring some elevation to the casts and the races for everybody, and the coolness it is to race next to those who make a living doing this awesome thing, which is cycling. So loving the comments there from Jacob. If you ride in the wrong zone, you don't get any points in CVR. I didn't know that, Z Kreider. Is that actually true, Quentin?
Yeah, it is. If you're not racing in your zone, you're not getting points.
Okay, gotcha. Got to race in the correct zone. Interesting. That's probably a good rule that you follow the rules so you get points. So we do see Herman here off the front now, right along with Wilkins. And then it will be Matthew Jujon right along with Kim Little with an attack, actually, 25 seconds. This is the race for the official first, most likely. But we may have a lot of approval badges trying to come through after today's numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we know that there's going to be some issues with the first guys, so I think the Kim and Matthew are going to go ahead for the win, actually, and they are both very good sprinters, and it's hard. They are also both from very experimented team, as Kim is riding for Team Experimental and Mathieu Drujon for Vision Cycling. Two of the oldest team out there on Zwift, so a lot of experience there, and it's going to be a very hard one. Maybe if maybe one of them can go out in the stairs actually right now, if one can drop the other right now, but that's not likely to happen because they expect that kind of effort at that point of the race. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult to separate them before the race, and it's going to come down to who's got the kick at the end, actually.
So we do see Herman off the front here. I do believe he's going to take the unofficial W, followed up by Chris. Chris might be able to close it down with 10 watts per kilogram for about an hour or so. Solid ride on the track all day from him. But it's going to be the battle here between Kim and Drujon, though, attacking here each other. Actually calming things down a little bit, jumping on the bus for a moment here to try and get the lead out, it looks like, for the sprint. It's going to be very tactical, I think, to the line here between these two riders. Now, I want to answer this question. We're going to go ahead and answer that question there from Victor. I did see it, Victor. I'll let you know after the cast, or maybe after the sprint, and then going into the women's sprint. I'll get into your comment and question there about approvals here. But we do see 1.2 watts per kilogram here, allowing Jujon to make his way to the front here. It's who's going to be the lead out man here. Kim is going to wait, it looks like, for the moment, though. Let's hear your predictions. Make sure you let us know before you see it happen here. Who's going to take it between Kim Little and Matthew Jujon? Team Experimental versus Vision Cycling out on course. 4.8 watts per kilogram, starting to lead it out. Is he going to be the smarter rider? Here's the question, because a lot of times in this sprint, it's all about the jump. Jujon falling off, though, and not on the wheel, not going to have the draft. Kim sees the weakness, it looks like here, but Jujon kicks 11, 12 watts per kilogram, and it looks like he might just have the raw wattage, but maybe not here. Here comes Kim Little now, 15 watts per kilogram. That is what a bait. Completely baited him here, and now Little is on the wheel and is able to go flying right on by there, boys and girls, and it looks like that is going to be it. Kim Little taking the W, just ahead maybe of Jujon, and he did make it, pulled it off there, just ahead of Matthew Jujon to the line. Now a few more sprints will be ramping up behind them as they were not too far back. It was definitely Whitley, who was able to come across the line, followed up by Pettinger, then Jerksurth, it looks like, followed by Vang there. We're going to have to keep on working our way back quickly, though, as I believe there are about 5,000, 6,000 people online, all logging in right now. So as soon as we cross the start-finish line, we actually lose the event and the culling of the riders that are around them. So we have to find our way back into the rest of the sprints here and back into the pens, it looks like, actually. So we're going to jump back in with the women here in just a moment. It does look like we were able to grab the back end of the Bs here with Osted as well. They're in the A's here, but back in with the women's race here as they're making their way up and over the top of the climb. Looks like Falk might be on the downhill, actually, at this point. 2:15, oh, nope, about halfway up the climb, actually. Excuse me, Beaumont actually 50 seconds back, actually. They've brought a solid amount of time back here, actually, on the climb. Usually happens, but, you know, Falk might be having a little bit of thoughts in the back of her head here, like, I need to keep them off my wheel.
Yeah, I mean, all she needs is pretty much like 30 seconds or so over the top of Fox Hill. So I mean, she was pretty much gone on 50 seconds of Box Hill. When you know how the gaps are calculated on Zwift, and it's a particular way to do that. It's actually calculated. It's based upon the distance that separate two riders. So when you go slower, the distance lowers as well. So the time gap is going to go down as well. And well, right now it's slimming down, but it's going to grow as soon as she hits the top of the climb. So we cannot like compare too much the gaps on the flat sections and the gaps on the climbing sections. As now we see I think the rankings are coming up for the men's race, and we are going to have our first look, while Christine is just going almost over the top of Box Hill now. But so yeah, Phil Whiteley from BRT to definitely took third place out there before Pettinger and Bjergset for fifths. And then it would be Vang for KRT, as we see the replay now from the sprint. And yeah, definitely
what a bait.
very
That was what a bait. I mean, that was very well played.
Definitely.
Very well played. Look at this right here. He lets him get out in front just enough, kicks again. So I thought it was over. I saw the 15 watts per kilogram or so, right? And I thought it was over. And no, suddenly Kim comes back on with 14 watts per kilogram to jump right back on the wheel, takes that momentum into his wheel. I mean, that's really quite the effort there.
Yeah, it takes the momentum just before going into that final descent. And that's where he won, actually. Like, when you see, you also see that Matthew's watts are going down almost 100 watts down. And, well, Kim just passed him at the best moment possible, gaining that momentum before the downhill. And yeah, after that, it was just too late for Matthew to come back.
It was close, though. Look at this right there. Matthew started to come back, but Kim's timing was very impeccable. Very, very nice timing.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Kim is saying right now in the chat, it's about knowing what you get yourself into, knowing the games, rather than betting on your watts per kilogram.
As Kristen's coming over the top here, we're going to jump back in with the men's race very quickly, as we do have a sprint heating up here within the B/A category. A couple of mixed riders, not mixed up riders, making their way to the line. Alexis Luge actually raced WBR. Good to see him out on course here. Coming out of France, 8.2 watts per kilogram with an early attack, actually, but nope. Again, the timing looks to be biting somebody a little bit here, and it will be jerked at the, no, excuse me, I don't even know. Rigdervold to the line there. It looks like in that last sprint there between the other riders. We'll go ahead and have a replay of that in just a minute. But the solid sprint there for the win, I believe, in the B category for the men out there. But for the A category for the women, while we're watching Kristen finish up her climb here, Quentin, what were the results today then, from first through fifth then, or maybe even up to 10th place?
For the men, you mean?
For the men, yeah.
For the men, so you have Kim Little in first, then Mathieu Roujon second, Whiteley third, then we have Pettinger, Bjergset, Vang, Dempster, Mel as well, Jeppe Tolbo from Denmark. We might be about 10th place, and then we have Auger, Zonveld, Piotr Szynski from Team Poland, Tom Kaland from KRT, and then it will be Kurt Powells and Robert Osterling, and I think Mials Hirbu is going to close up the top 15. Yeah,
the climbing out there today, I think, really changed up the dynamic. The kind of climbing that we saw out there today, it was really a puncher's race today. It's because they made it a puncher's race today, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, it was much more of who can go full on single day race style. You know, everything you got into that climb both times. There were some crazy times, might have disrupted things a little bit. Most of the time, those who were part of the finish, those who were part of the end of the race, weren't really with those riders when they went over the top. But it made the race that much faster altogether. And so because of that, I think what I'm looking at here, the usual races that we see from the likes of Mayo or Dempster or Jerkstedt or Whiteley, who all have amazing sprints. We didn't see them though involved because the true climbers showed up.
Exactly, like as we said at the beginning of the broadcast, it's going to be down to how they race Box Hill. Last week we had a big group coming into the finish, and they pretty much stayed together in Box Hill. This week, they didn't want that to happen again, and they made it happen that way. And well, it was definitely a good show for us, and we definitely had some good fireworks. And ultimately, any race you do is down to how the riders do it. And that's actually fun because that's what every director sportive is going to tell you before any race. Is that the riders make the race and not the opposite.
Yep, that's true. That's completely true. On the riders make the race. It doesn't matter what the course is. It matters what the riders do with it. So, looking through here, that sprint was the purest form of game theory optimal I have ever seen. Nice, Victor. Nice that. Victor, I did see your question earlier about approval of Zada. Zada is a group that works in conjunction with Zwift Power that tracks the efforts of riders. If riders do start producing watts per kilogram that are over 5.0 watts per kilogram for 20 minutes or 6.0 watts per kilogram for 5 minutes, which are elite type numbers. And since there's such a small amount of individuals that have that ability in the world, then it raises the eyebrows a little bit and we say, hey, let's just double check and make sure that your calibrations are correct, because a lot of times we do see a lot of riders producing elite numbers who are not elite riders, who produce more Cat 5 to Cat 2 or Cat 1 type numbers, actually, producing into the elite numbers. And we want everything to be fair and correct. So they approach them, they relegate their results until they get verified strain gauge power meter files from them to look at that show them producing the same type of watts per kilogram in real life on a real life effort out on road somewhere. And so that's how they go about those verification processes. I do believe at this point they do have the ability to see whether or not files were manipulated, all kinds of cool stuff that they've been doing in the background for a long time, actually. Zada's been doing this for how long, Quentin? I'd say over a year at this point, maybe even 2.
I think Zada started a year and a half ago.
Yeah, about a year and a half. Yep.
It was summer 2016, if I recall right. So definitely a long time of activity, a lot of experience to these guys. And they are doing a very good job, and that's a very demanding job and a very tough one. Because you are trying to make racing fair, and that raises a lot of questions, and that can upset a lot of people. So you have to keep your head in the game, and just do what you know how to do, and they're never wrong in what they do. So if they verify a rider, there is no second guess, and errors can happen, but with the tools they have and they spend a lot of time reviewing riders, and they put a lot of effort in it. So it's
now. Did you say they're never wrong? Zada is, or the people who are trying to defend themselves, as in like tongue in cheek? Because I think the people who are trying to defend themselves are never wrong, but like at the same,
no. No, I mean like Zara with the type of effort they put into
Gotcha,
that
gotcha.
work. They
They're
are,
trying to be
well,
as
I mean,
exact as you
yeah,
possibly can be, is what you're
as you
getting at.
possibly can,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And that's funny to say that it comes to, well, to be as exact as humanly possible when it comes to a video game, but that's what it comes to.
Well, and it's similar to most games, actually. That's why you have a lot of LAN events. So, in the competitive world, and why we're having the ones that are coming up as well. And we've seen situations over and over again where a rider is dominating. They show up to the event, and next thing you know, you don't see them in the races too often anymore. And so, it definitely brings things to reality. Same thing as you do see when sometimes there are aimbots and FPSs and somebody shows up and you don't see the same results any longer in the land events. We do have Falk here come across the line though. She's been on a solo TT for almost 2 laps here. Solid effort here from Falk. Going to be taking the W today out on course. Now we do have Lind here, it looks like, and Veer now making the way to the line, but Veer with the attack early on here though, actually. And Beaumont there, 8 seconds off the back's not going to be bringing this back. PTZ going to be taking second place on the day. Solid result here for PTZ there for that second place, but Beaumont there for a third. It looks like 4.8 watts per kilogram. Veer was not involved in the race last week, and so this is a little bit of a point grab there for Veer ahead of Beaumont, who is not going to be taking points. Well, here's the question: does she get full points for A though because of this result?
No, she will get 1,000 points for the B rankings, and Beaumont will get 998 for the A category.
Gotcha. Understood. So it is a second place ranking for the A's here. But Kona Bear here and Angmo, they're going to give us a little sprint most likely for the fun of it, even though it is not racing against each other for the points at this point. But it's going to be for the pride of it here. Let's see who is going to be able to take the sprint between Kona Bear and Angmo out on course. PTZ versus Vixen, it looks like. Vixen now leading things out, as you can see. And Angmo now 3.3 watts per kilogram sitting on. And they still have only about 300 meters, though, to the line now at this point. Coming to that point, that's going to be the timing. And Koneberg still leading things out. Shumley's going to have to jump on this little bit of an incline here. Angmo now going at trying to get by, as you can see. Koneberg now kicking right alongside her. Neck and neck now, it looks like, as they try to make their way to the line for first place now. Vixen here coming through with Carrie Koneberg trying to make a kick on the downhill. But PTZ's got 5.3 watts per kilogram to give now, it looks like. And it's going to be, I believe, PTZ all the way to the line, just able to hold off in a race of attrition, it looks like here. Carrie Koneberg had 8 watts per kilogram, but the timing, Quentin, was not there. And it looks like just missed out on it.
It was a little bit too late, but I don't think, well, in the end, it won't matter that much. But she did have it in the legs. She just mistimed her sprint, actually.
That's what it looked like. That's definitely what it looked like there, because we saw the orange numbers over the top of those of that 5 to 6 watts per kilogram, and usually that means that you're going to have that sprint though. But I'm looking through here. We're going to try and find the admin that needs to calm down out on course here, but it looks like we're going to jump in with the SCR group ride, maybe out on course. Maybe Lindsay's avatar will give us access. Now, the cool thing about the London course is that you can go back to the pens and find yourself right back out on course with the riders making the way to the line here. Look at this. Christman, perfect timing here, right along with Holmes. A 3-up sprint, actually. Holmes is going to be the first one making her way to the front here. And Min now sitting in, but here comes Min, 5.2 watts per kilogram. Is she going to have the right timing on this, though, as she moves her way through at 5.4 watts per kilogram? Asperheim there as well, sitting on that wheel. Are they going to take advantage of this lead out now? Holmes now 6 watts per kilogram. Up and out of the saddle, though, is what we're going to have to call for any kind of a sprint to try and get ahead, but it looks like it's going to be Holmes, I think. Christman with a little bit of an attack at the end, but again, unable to make it happen here. It will be S. Holmes there. First one across the line for the riders there in that sprint. Looking back, though, at this sprint here from, I believe it was Carrie, and let's see if this does work here. So let me just go ahead. This is replay last event. I got to make sure that I can get the correct event out there. I think this will work here. Let's go ahead and try this. I've got a couple of new toys I'm playing with here, everybody, just so you guys know. So I'm gonna see if I can get this one to play out correctly, because the last couple of times we tried to make it happen, it ended up playing out all wrong here. But it does look like this is going to work here. And coming to the line here, this was the sprint earlier we just saw, and it looks like she's sitting in. We were talking about this with Carrie, trying to make her way to the line correctly there, but it looks like she sat in just a little bit too long as she almost tried playing that same card that we saw from Kim Little there, but I think on the downhill, maybe it just mistimed it, because at the end here, we do see that 8 watts per kilogram, Quentin.
Yeah, definitely a missed time, because we see the watts ramping up and hitting the orange numbers, and that was like in the last 50 meters, so that was way too late. And well, I mean, that's a good lesson for next time, I guess, for Carrie, as experienced as she is.
And also, we are seeing the sprint that just came through here with Carissa. I'm not sure there was a whole lot left. She did lead things out, but it was Holmes that was able to come through. And just, this was a true race of attrition. You can see it. 6 watts per kilogram, 5 watts per kilogram, just pulling through. No real kicks at the line there. Carissa did try to give one last ditch, but it wasn't a very long effort there to the line there. And just a quick little 7 to try and hold off, most likely Asperheim, and was able to do so.
Yeah, the three-way sprint are always tricky, but I mean, what we saw was a finished sprint after a very demanding race, and they just basically threw everything they had to in the mix in these few hundred meters to this finish line.
I'm seeing, let's see here, a lot of comments coming through, tons of them actually. Mike Davis saying Kim Little was his prediction, and the okie dokie, he calls it. I love it. And I think that's a little bit of Muhammad Ali coming in here. So good to see you there, Davis, hanging out. Looking forward to you racing real soon. Great commentary, Nathan and Quentin. Also the ability to predict cheating and the need verification. But Herman, yeah, hearing you there, Carl. Solid effort all around. Nice replay. Thanks. Yep, no problem there, Matthew. Nice job out there on the race. Solid effort out there. And someone got DQ'd for 10 watts per kilogram for 1 minute. In the next raid, they need 10 watts per kilogram for 45 seconds, then coasted a few seconds before kick. Oh, sounds like a little bit of manipulation there for sure. Mike Davis is saying, I can tell you firsthand that Zwift and its riders has made me strong and go harder than I ever have. Produces numbers I haven't seen in decades. I'm with you there, Mike Davis, for sure. Rachel Elliott. We've got some Zwift legends in the house here with Rachel Elliott as well. Good to see you there, Rachel. Hanging out in the broadcast. Look forward to you racing in the E-Crit, I think, coming up on Thursday. So that'll most likely do it for us. We're going to try and go get this voice better. Oh, my goodness. It's been a push through here, Quentin.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you had as much a struggle at the guys out there, so it's good to see commentators suffer as much as the riders sometimes.
So we do have results coming through from the women here. It looks like as we refresh.
Yeah, we do. We have at least the first three: Folk, Beaumont, and Veer. Not in that order, as Veer is ranked in the B bracket, but. Still need some refreshing. So we see Conabeer taking 3rd place in the A bracket before Holmes, and in the B bracket, Veer is first before Hangmo 2nd, and Carissa Min taking 3rd place. And I don't think the C bracket has finished yet.
I'm seeing Cheryl Muldoon there with a solid Really solid, actually, results so far for her with a 1996. It looks like still. So Cheryl, they're gonna be, I think, out on course, looking for some more points toward that top spot. Actually, in the CVR here, I'm gonna see if I can actually find her avatar out on course and see if she was able to hold on to that gap. I think she attacked right from the get go, actually, and was able to get away here. Let's just go ahead and see if we can get some help with that. And here we do have Muldoon here making her way to the line. I think for the Vixen team, their first place, perhaps. I'm not seeing any
I
other
think that's
C's around
second,
it.
second place because yeah, Lindy Gray just crossed the line actually.
Oh, Gray went
for the
along.
C
Excuse me.
bracket.
You are right. She did go along with a few of the other riders there. So Gray
Yeah.
and Linda actually with one race is going to be jumping into the bracket here with some solid efforts. And if she gets the best of three, she's already got one in, so she can do one more. And then she'll have a competition on her hands with Cheryl. If she keeps on beating Cheryl, she might be able to get 1 or 2 points ahead of her by the end of the series. The C bracket's going to be heating up, actually.
Exactly. The more competition you can get, the fun, the more fun it gets. So, I mean, any competition is good for competition, and
Yeah.
yeah, I might be as tired as you are talking like this, but I mean, it's good to have a lot of women in the races because it makes the pack grows and. I mean, the race is better for it.
Excuse me. So, Lou Lana Anthony is saying, "Oh, what happens when Zwift doesn't close properly? Do you lose your ride?" So, Quentin, do you lose your ride?
I'm not sure what happens.
Because I
There's
know
one very
it like
there's
saves in
the
Zwift's
file, yeah.
database. Like you get a ride still, like logged. Like when I was doing missions and stuff, and if it crashed on me, I still had a ride in the database there at my Zwift.com login profile. You might want to check there to see if you can download it from there.
Yeah,
If
I
you
think
don't
you
have
have
it
it
in your documents too. So there's a
yeah,
Zwift
you
file
should
in
have
your
it.
documents that'll have your activities, and you can find that in there as well.
Yeah, you should have it in your documents in the Zwift folder. And I see Mike Zismansky is saying the same thing in the chat. So when Zwift crash, you just go into your document folder and just get it back from here.
Mike, it doesn't. So if someone's concerned about whether or not it registers with a website, yeah, it is a fit file. So if somebody, I'm being polite. so if somebody is concerned about whether or not the registration of what you did is registered with Zwift specifically, they do track what you're up to and save a file usually to their internal servers as well, so that you get your missions and whatever else you were going after that they're tracking. Then if you do want it to go to Strava for someone else from a third party though, who is doing things with the Zwift files, you need to grab the Zwift fit file. You need to grab the fit file over at your documents, and unless you moved it, but it'll be in documents to where of whatever drive you uploaded or that you installed Zwift on, and then go ahead and go into the Zwift file in documents. I'm not talking about your application file, which is somewhere else. I'm talking about in your documents. Zwift actually makes a file in your documents file where you can find your activities, you can find your workouts, you can find any files that they expect you to be loading in that interact directly with Zwift. And you can also, I thought we were concerned about race results. Yeah, so I'm not sure what we're after there, and I'm just kind of trying to cover all the bases, Mike, and because I'm not sure. Message me if you have trouble if you can't do it. Rachel is saying, I lost mine completely 2 weeks ago. Wasn't on Zwift or in my folders, and I got it back. Nice, Rachel. So Rachel was able to find some files without going any of the traditional routes, it sounds like. So there may be some other ways to get after those. And I have a feeling there might be some backups happening in other places now as well. It's a bit more complex on iOS. Right on. I don't use any iOS devices. Well, we started using one in the last couple of days with my wife's. My wife's been using one for, I don't know, however long, for Logix and some other things for music, and had to deal with some issues with it today. I know why I still don't buy iOS products, but I will just leave that alone. I guess Apple's never going to sponsor this channel. So, Quentin, tomorrow, SCR. You guys,
Tomorrow,
actually, we have a
SCR.
schedule. Yeah, we actually have a schedule. We got this thing that we made.
We have the schedule.
We have a schedule.
Show us the schedule.
Oh my
Tell
gosh.
us about the
So
schedule.
let's see if I can, actually, I don't even think the schedule is on. Actually, no, it is on this. It is on this PC, I believe. I'm just going to double check. Where is that thing at here? But we can show you guys the schedule. I'm not sure that this is the correct one. I'll double check it here real quick. That is not the schedule at all. Wow, that's way back June 8th. You guys want to see the June 12th to the 18th schedule? That is an old school one.
That
Not
is
the
a good
correct
schedule,
one.
but not the one we're looking for.
That is a good schedule, but not the one that we're looking for. Shots fired, boys and girls. Nathan is in so much trouble right now. So, we do have a space that was supposed to be made specifically for these things, and it just doesn't look like it's cooperating with us at this point. It was supposed to have this really awesome, hey, easy to manage spot where all of the cool productions that I am making for these things are, and they're just not there. So you can go find the schedule over at our Facebook. Just go to our Facebook. It's pinned at the top. I'll post it. It's also posted on our Twitter. Head on over to our Twitter. It's just the upcoming for the next 2 days anyways, today and tomorrow. Then we'll upload again for Thursday and Friday, and you'll be able to see what's going on. It's upcoming streams, so we'll be doing we'll do up to 5 of the upcoming streams that are coming out. So we got a lot of cool stuff happening. A lot of the usual. There's some new stuff though, with some other talent coming in as well that you guys can be watching out for. So we're pretty excited about a lot of things that'll happen in the background to make those things happen. So still no announcements just yet, but some exciting stuff that's on its way. Let's see real quick here as we head on out. Quentin, SCR tomorrow. Look forward to some more racing workout Wednesdays. Make sure to check that out and jump in with Matt Rowe and Greg Henderson tomorrow. If you are unaware what this was all about, this was the CVR World Cup, and we are in the middle of the winter season, 8 weeks total, starting on January 2nd, and this is for $100,000 prize pool that people are fighting it out for the CVR World Cup League right now. And we'll leave you with the sprint from the men's race out here in the women's races as we head on out for the day. Quentin, thanks as always for jumping in with us out in the racing. We'll see you tomorrow for SCR.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And I'm Nathan Guerra coming at you from ZCL, and we got a green screen thing going on there. I don't know who did that. Kids. We'll just blame it on the kids, right? No, just kidding. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for the SCR races. As always, great job to all the racers, as well as thanks to everybody for tuning in and all the viewers out there and all the comments that you bring into the broadcast. You guys are always very, very appreciated. And we'll see you tomorrow for the SCR races out on Zwift.